We were dust keepers. Our home was a forgotten station. It drifted in a system with no name. We kept the old stories alive. We tended the last digital fires of humanity. Our inheritance was not land or gold. It was data, petabytes of broken code. We sifted through these digital archives. We searched for pieces of our lost history. Most days we found only ghosts, recipes for foods no one remembered, schematics for ships that never flew. The elders said this was noble work. They said we were guardians of memory. But we felt more like custodians of a tomb. We were cataloging the echoes of a dead species, a species that happened to be us. Our station was old and cramped. Its air tasted of recycled metal and regret. We looked out at the same quiet stars. They were a wall, not a destination. They were beautiful, but terribly empty. We spent our cycles in the low hum of the servers. The light from our screens painted our faces. We were pale creatures of the digital deep. We chased whispers of who we once were. We dreamed of what we could have been. One day, everything changed. We were deep in a corrupted server bank. It was labeled Terran Diaspora, Final Logs, a morbid corner of the archive. We had searched it 100 times before, but this time was different. A flicker of light in the data stream. It was a file unlike any other. It was not text or imagery. It was a complex, multi-layered chart, a map. Its star lanes were impossible. They cut through known gravity wells. They defied our understanding of star science. The map was a whisper of a forbidden path, a ghost in the code. We felt a thrill we had not felt in years. It was the dangerous, electric feeling of hope. The map was fragmented and ragged. Parts of it were missing entirely. Yet what remained was beautiful. It pulsed with a soft, internal light. It felt ancient and impossibly advanced. We knew, with a certainty that chilled our bones, that this was not a glitch. This was real. We worked for days to stabilize the file. We cleaned the corrupted code around it. The map became clearer. Its impossible routes became sharper. It pointed to a sector of space marked uninhabitable, a place our own charts called the Great Silence. This map did not care about our charts. It painted a highway through the void. It promised a way out of our gilded cage. For the first time, we saw the stars not as a wall, but as a door, and we had just found the key. We took our discovery to the council. The elders sat in their high-backed chairs. Their faces were grim lines in the low light. They listened with forced patience. We showed them the map, our impossible, beautiful map. They were not impressed. The head elder, a man named Karan, shook his head. He called it a dangerous fantasy, a data ghost born from corrupted files. He said it was a siren song leading to our doom. He was probably right. But we didn't care. We argued with passion. We explained the complex mathematics. We showed them how the roots bent space. They saw only heresy. They saw a challenge to their quiet, orderly decay. They preferred the safety of the tomb. Our warnings were ignored. Our excitement was dismissed as youthful folly. The council voted. The decision was unanimous. The map was to be sealed. It was to be classified and forgotten. They told us to return to our duties. They told us to go back to tending the dust. We left the council chamber in silence. Their caution felt like a chain. Their wisdom felt like a prison sentence. We would not let our hope die in that sterile room. We would not let the map be forgotten. That night, a quiet rebellion was born. We could not do this alone. We needed a crew. We sent out quiet messages. We used old encrypted channels. We spoke of a ghost in the code. We whispered of a ragged map. We promised a chance at a real horizon. The dreamers answered. A pilot named Kale, who flew supply drones. He said he was tired of flying in circles. An engineer named Alara, a master of propulsion. She could make a dead engine sing. She said our station's engines were an insult to physics. We thought that was pretty funny. And others came. A medic, a navigator, a botanist. People who felt the same quiet desperation. We were a small group of misfits and believers. We were united by a shared, impossible dream. We decided to steal a ship. There was a decommissioned freighter in the outer docks. It was called the Vagrant Hope. A perfect name, we thought. It was old, ugly, and probably haunted. Ilara said its core was sound. Kyle said he could fly it. That was good enough for us. We gathered supplies under a silent, watching moon. Food, water, spare parts, and the map. We left our old lives behind. We slipped away into the cold darkness. The Vagrant Hope shuddered to life. Its engines hummed a song of freedom. Our journey had begun. The first few weeks were silent. The Vagrant Hope was a small, noisy bubble. It moved through an endless, quiet black. We lived on nutrient paste and nervous energy. The ship's coffee maker was our most prized possession. It was also the most likely to explode. We followed the map's strange pathways. It led us far from known trade routes. It took us into the deep black. Out here, the stars were different. They were sharper, colder, and more numerous. We felt small but unbound. Then we reached the first coordinate. Our sensors screamed with warnings. We dropped out of faster travel. We stared at the view screen in awe. We had arrived in a graveyard of giants. Shattered rings the size of worlds floated silently. The bones of colossal structures drifted in the void. It was the debris field of a great civilization. They had lived and died here long ago. There was no sign of battle, only silence. An entire culture vanished. We took the ship into the debris field. We moved with caution and reverence. The scale was hard to comprehend. We saw buildings that pierced the darkness. Their sides were covered in strange, elegant script. They were monuments to a people who touched the stars. We found no bodies. We found no personal effects. It was as if they had simply walked away. They left their magnificent homes behind. We scanned the ruins for energy signatures. There was nothing, just cold, silent echoes of a forgotten age. This was their home. What could have made them leave it all? As we drifted past a shattered moonlet, it happened. A new contact appeared on our sensors. It was not from the ruins. It was coming toward us, fast. We watched as a shape resolved from the darkness. It was a ship, but not like any we had seen. It was a perfect black blade. It had no windows, no visible engines. It moved with an unnatural grace, a cold, vast ship that drank the starlight. It stopped before us, a silent challenge. Then, a voice spoke. It was on every channel. It was in our headsets and in the ship's comms. The voice was calm, synthesized, and absolute. It carried the weight of ages. "This territory is forbidden," it said. "You are in violation of Protocol 7. Turn back now. This is your only warning." We asked who they were. The voice replied with 2 words. "We are the Wardens." They declared this space their own. They were the silent watchers of this tomb. We did not turn back. We had not come this far to be scared away. We held our ground. Kale's hands were steady on the controls. We transmitted a message of peaceful intent. We told them we were explorers. The Warden's ship did not reply with words. It replied with fire. A beam of pure white energy shot from its hull. It was not an explosive. It was a surgical tool. It sliced through a nearby piece of debris, The rock vaporized without a sound. Their precision was terrifying. Kyle threw the Vagrant Hope into a dive. Another beam cut through the space we had just occupied. Their weapons were silent, precise, and deadly. We had to outthink this perfect enemy. We were a freighter, not a warship. Our only advantage was the graveyard itself. Kale used the colossal ruins as cover. We weaved through the skeletal remains of the lost civilization. Beams of light chased us through the metallic canyons. Alara pushed the old engines to their limit. The ship groaned in protest. Alarms blared across the bridge. We ignored them. Survival was the only thing that mattered. We were a mouse running from a hawk in a forest of steel trees. The wardens were relentless. They knew the debris field better than we did. They anticipated our moves. They herded us toward open space. We were running out of places to hide. It was a losing battle. We were too slow, too fragile. Then, a new light filled the bridge. It was not a weapons fire. It came from the navigation console. It was the map. It was glowing, shifting, changing. Lines of light were drawing themselves across its surface. The map was responding to our ship's presence. It was reacting to the ancient ruins around us. It was more than just a guide. It was alive. New pathways flickered into existence. They showed us routes we could not see. Tunnels through the larger debris, fissures in the shattered moons. We had no choice but to trust it. "Follow the new lines," we yelled to Kale. He nodded, his face slick with sweat. He guided the Vagrant Hope into a narrow chasm. The warden's ship was too large to follow. Their energy beams struck the rock above us. The map guided us through a maze. It was a living parchment, unfurling before us. It showed us the secret ways, the paths the builders had used. It knew this place intimately. It was a part of this dead civilization's legacy. We were no longer just running. We were being led. The new path took us deeper. We flew through the hollowed-out core of a habitat. We dodged the dead husks of silent starships. The wardens were still behind us. We could see their energy lances lighting up the darkness. But they were losing us. Finally, the map showed us a final turn. It led us toward a vast, swirling cloud of gas. A nebula. It was dense and charged with energy. Our sensors would be useless inside. So would the wardens. It was a perfect hiding place. Kyle pushed the ship forward. We plunged into the colorful dust. The Vagrant Hope shuddered as it hit the outer layers. Behind us, the warden ship stopped. It would not follow us into the storm. We were safe for now. Inside the nebula, we found a strange calm. The gas clouds glowed with soft blues and purples. It was a haven in the void. We cut the engines and let the ship drift. The silence was a relief after the chaos of the chase. We gathered around the navigation console. We studied the mapmaker's purpose. Here in the quiet, we could finally learn. The map was no longer just a chart. It was a key, and we had just used it to open a lock. It was designed to interact with these ancient places. It revealed more of itself to us. The map was not just about routes between stars. It was a network, a series of hidden shelters and secret roads. The civilization that built this had not vanished. They had hidden. They had created a galaxy within the galaxy, a place where they could be safe. From what we did not know, but we suspected we had just met them. The wardens. The map showed us the next step, a final destination, a single point glowing brighter than all the others. It was on the far side of the nebula, a place called the Precursor Gate. It was the heart of their hidden network, the ultimate destination of our ragged map. We rested and repaired the ship. Elara worked miracles on the strained engines. We patched the hull where debris had struck us. Our small crew was exhausted but resolute. We had seen too much to turn back. We had to see the journey to its end. After 2 days, we were ready. We left the safety of the nebula. We emerged back into the deep black, and there it was. Before us hung a colossal artifact. A ring of impossible size, made of swirling metallic light. It was the precursor gate. It was larger than any station, any planet. It was a monument built by gods. It sat silent and dormant, waiting. As we stared in wonder, a new reality crashed down on us. Our sensors lit up with contacts. Behind us, a fleet had amassed. It was not one warden ship. It was dozens. An entire armada of black, silent blades. They had been waiting for us. They had known where we would go. We were trapped between the gate and the fleet. The vagrant hope felt very small. Our comms crackled. A channel opened. A face appeared on our main screen. It was not human. It was a being of sharp angles and ancient eyes. Its voice was the same calm, synthesized tone from before. But now it had a name. Elder Ones. "You have traveled far," the warden leader said. "You have proven resourceful. But your journey ends now. You risk galactic ruin." The being's expression did not change. It was a mask of cold certainty. It told us their story. They were an ancient race. They had watched civilizations rise and fall. They saw a pattern of self-destruction. Younger races always reached for power they could not control. They believed they were saving us from ourselves. They claimed the gate was not a door. It was a weapon of last resort. A device that could unravel star science itself. They said the creators of the gate realized their error. They had locked it away and created the wardens to guard it. Their cruelty, they said, was a kindness, a necessary shield against ambition. We looked at the silent gate. We looked at the ragged map. We listened to the warden's final warning. "Surrender your vessel, Elder," Ones commanded. "Abandon this foolish quest, or we will erase you from existence for the good of the galaxy." We had a choice to make. We could believe the wardens. We could accept their grim reality. A universe where curiosity was a crime. A galaxy governed by fear. Or we could trust the map. A piece of ragged code found in the dark. Our crew stood silent on the bridge. We saw fear in each other's eyes. But we also saw something else. A stubborn, foolish spark of hope. The same spark that led us from our dusty home. We had come this far on ragged faith. We would not abandon it now. We turned to Kale. He looked at us, and then at the gate. A slow grin spread across his face. "Well," he said, "I didn't much care for their tone. We made our choice. We would trust the ragged map. We would see what lay on the other side." We ignored the warden's final command. Kale pushed the engines forward. The vagrant hope flew toward the colossal gate. The warden fleet did not fire. Perhaps they were surprised by our audacity. Or perhaps they wanted to see us prove them right. We reached the center of the ring. Our console chimed. The map was broadcasting a sequence. A complex stream of data flowed from our ship. It was a key, a handshake, an ancient password. It touched the gate. The gate did not power up like a weapon. There was no surge of deadly energy. Instead, a soft light began to glow from within the ring. It hummed a low, gentle note. The gate was waking up. It was answering our call. Light bloomed. It filled the void before us. It was not the light of destruction. It was the light of creation. The gate opened to reveal safe pathways. A web of stable, glowing tunnels stretched into infinity. A starborn highway. It was the galaxy's true inheritance. It was a gift, not a weapon. A road built to connect, not to destroy. The wardens were wrong. Their entire history, their entire purpose, was built on a lie. They were guardians of a paradise they thought was a tomb. The warden fleet hung motionless. Their silent, broken watch continued. We could feel their disbelief across the void. Elder One's was still on our screen. Its mask of certainty had cracked. For the first time, its ancient eyes showed confusion. Their iron grip on the galaxy was broken, not by a weapon, but by an idea. The idea that the universe was not something to be feared. It was something to be explored. Their fleet was a monument to a dead philosophy. They could only stare in disbelief as their cage dissolved. We were the first to pass through. Kale guided the vagrant hope into one of the glowing pathways. The light surrounded us, warm and welcoming. We looked back one last time. We saw the wardens, small and lost in the dark. We saw the faint light of our home system. Then we looked forward. The path stretched on, a river of stars. New suns, new worlds, new possibilities. Our ragged map had not been a path to a weapon. It had been an invitation to the rest of the universe. Humanity was no longer bound to the dark. We were no longer dust keepers in a forgotten corner. We were travelers on a new, open road. The horizon was now our own to write. We wore ragged maps, and we had found our treasure, the stars.